These are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the coastland peoples spread in their lands, each with his own language, by their clans, in their nations. The sons of Ham: Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush: Sheba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. The sons of Ramah: Sheba and Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first on earth to be a mighty man. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From that land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, that is, the great city. Egypt fathered Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtupim, Pathrusim, Kaluhim, from whom the Philistines came, and Captorim. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth. And the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Archites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterward the clans of the Canaanites dispersed, and the territory of the Canaanites extended from Sidon in the direction of Gerar as far as Gaza, and in the direction of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim as far as Lashah. These are the sons of Ham, by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. To Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born. The sons of Shem: Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram: Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. To Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan fathered Almadad, Shelef, Hazarmaveth, Zerah, Adoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. The territory in which they lived extended from Mesha in the direction of Sephar to the hill country of the east. These are the sons of Shem, by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. These are the clans of the sons of Noah, according to their genealogies in their nations, and from these the nations spread abroad on the earth after the flood. Genesis 11. Now the whole earth had one language and the same words. And as people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." And they had bricks for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens. And let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have all one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do. And nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord dispersed them over the face of all the earth. These are the generations of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he fathered Arpachshad 2 years after the flood, and Shem lived after he fathered Arpachshad 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he fathered Shelah. And Arpachshad lived after he fathered Shelah 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he fathered Eber, and Shelah lived after he fathered Eber 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he fathered Peleg, and Eber lived after he fathered Peleg 430 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he fathered Reu, and Peleg lived after he fathered Reu 209 years and had other sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he fathered Serug, and Reu lived after he fathered Serug 207 years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he fathered Nahor, and Serug lived after he fathered Nahor 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he fathered Terah, and Nahor lived after he fathered Terah 119 years and had other sons and daughters. When Terah had lived 70 years, he fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah fathered Abram, Nahor, and Haran fathered Lot. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of his kindred, in Ur of the Chaldeans. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was barren. She had no child. Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. And they went forth together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Genesis 12.
So because I didn't really have any much questions, we could probably go through these quickly. Did you do them? The people and the people?
For the people, I just highlighted them on the following page where they had all the descendants.
Oh, okay. Were you able to locate the places? Because I wasn't.
I located 1 to 7.
Yeah, well, okay. Did you color the map?
No, I was to look for my colored pencils, and that didn't happen.
Well, yeah, you could send your map to the family chat to the Bible chat then, and then I will send mine. I colored mine, but I couldn't find the places. So the people and the peoples, they were all in the glossary. So
Okay.
okay, let me go through it fast. Eber was the father of the Hebrews, descendants of Shem. Gomer was the father of the Cimmerians, of the Greeks, and settled south of the Black Sea. Magog was the father of the Scythians, settled southeast of the Black Sea. Madai was the father of the Medes, settled south of the Caspian Sea. Javan was the father of the Ionians, of the Greeks, settled west of Asia Minor. Tubal was the father of the Tiberians, settled in eastern Asia Minor. Meshech was the father of Moskoi, settled south of the Black Sea. Tiras was the father of the Pelasgians from around the Aegean Sea. Tarshish was the father of the inhabitants of Tartessus in southern Spain. Kittim was the father of the inhabitants of Cyprus. Cush was the father of the Ethiopians who settled in Africa south of Egypt. Mizraim was the father of the Egyptians. Put was the father of the ancient inhabitants of Put in East Africa. Canaan was the grandson of Noah, son of Ham, father of the Canaanites. Sheba was the father of the inhabitants of Sheba in southern Arabia. Sidon was the father of the inhabitants of the city of Sidon in Phoenicia. Heth was the father of the Hittites, ancient powerful people of Asia Minor. Elam was the father of the inhabitants of Elam, east of Middle Tigris, south of Assyria. Ashur was the father of the Assyrians, and Aram was the father of the Arameans or Syrians. And the peoples. The Philistines were the descendants of Ham and lived along the south coast of Palestine. The Caphthorim were the inhabitants of the island of Crete, descendants of Ham. The Jebusites were the descendants of Canaan who lived around Jerusalem. The Amorites were descendants of Canaan who lived in mountains around Lebanon range. And these people would come up further along in the Old Testament. You would see them like in Exodus and in Numbers. I think Numbers especially. The Amorites were descendants of Canaan who lived, oh, I did that already. And the Girgashites were the descendants of Canaan who lived in Palestine. The Hivites were the descendants of Canaan who lived in central Palestine. The Archites were the descendants of Canaan who lived around Arka, a Phoenician city south of Sidon. The Sinites were the descendants of Canaan who lived around Sin, a Phoenician city north of Sidon. The Arvadites were descendants of Canaan who lived in and around the island city of Arvadas. The Zemarites were descendants of Canaan who lived around Simira, a northern Phoenician city, and the Hamathites were the descendants of Canaan who lived in and around Hamath. Maybe that should be Hamathites on the Orontes River. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're supposed to color the map in the different colors for Shem, Ham, and Japheth. I'll send mine to the chat afterwards. So the only other questions was about Babel. Okay. Well, since I went through all the peoples, you could probably go through all the fact questions.
Okay. Number 1, how many languages were there immediately after the flood? There was one language. Where did the people settle? On a plain in the land of Shinar. Number 3, why did they want to build a tower? To make a name for themselves and to avoid being dispersed over the face of the earth. Number 4, what did the Lord do? What was that?
To reach heaven. That was one of their reasons. But they thought they could reach heaven.
What did the Lord do? The Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. What were the results? The Lord dispersed them over the face of the earth, and they left off building the city. And he confused their language so they could not understand each other.
I had the same thing, but I had it slightly different in how I separated 4 and 5. So for 4, I just said he gave them different languages so that they would not understand one another's speech. And then for 5, the results I had that they were scattered all over the world and they stopped building the city. All right. The thought questions, both of us could answer that one. What you have for that?
Why were the people wrong in building the tower? Okay, one, they were trying to prove how great they were. And two, they were disobeying God because he told them to be fruitful and multiply and repopulate it.
Okay. I have something. So I said, God said, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. So if the entirety of mankind were to settle in one place, they would fail to obey God's command to fill the earth. That was their plan, because they did not want to be scattered over the earth. So their three aims were to reach heaven, to make a name for themselves, and to keep from being scattered. And so all of those things showed a level of pride. So first of all, they deliberately disobeyed God by trying to keep from being scattered. And then they wanted to make a name for themselves, meaning they wanted to exalt their own name and not God's. And they wanted to reach heaven. Now that was probably not physically possible, but these were ancient people. They probably didn't even know that. So they aimed to build a tower to heaven. They were maybe thinking that they could enter heaven and be like God. Now, there is a possibility that the language that said that they wanted to enter heaven was something about like an astronomy. So there's a possibility that that the tower was linked to idolatry, and I think this is actually true. That it was like a little bit deeper than that, than what you would see from the literal face of the text. I think there was idolatry going on there, and very likely some witchcraft. And they were worshiping like sun gods and moon gods. Because if you look at like pagan peoples, a lot of the pagan peoples, even now, they always like to go to the high places to worship. They always like to go to mountains. And they would build their altars on mountains. You would see that in the Bible. And even now, in mountainous areas, you would find people building altars, because that is the idea. They want to go high as if they want to reach heaven, to exalt themselves. Okay, anything from the two chapters that we didn't discuss?
No.
I think there was a possibility that Nimrod wasn't fully human. Nimrod, he founded Nineveh and I think Babylon as well. So he may have been like something else, like the giants, because they call him a mighty man of renown. So the mighty man of renown, that was in Genesis 6, that was like a reference to the giants. They referred to them as the giants. So I feel that was what Nimrod was. Yeah, but it's mostly like the genealogy, so it didn't really have much in these two chapters. Really. You wanna close off with a psalm or a prayer?
Yeah, I can say a psalm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just choose one. Psalm number 59. To the chief musician Al-Taschith, Miktam of David, when Saul sent, and they watched the house to kill him. Deliver me from mine enemies, O my God. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity, and save me from bloody men. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, not for my transgression, nor for my sin, O Lord. They run and prepare themselves without my fault. Awake to help me, and behold, thou therefore, O Lord, God of hosts, the God of Israel, awake to visit all the heathen. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressors. They return at evening. They make a noise like a dog and go round about the city. Behold, they belch out with their mouth, swords are in their lips, for who, say they, doth hear? But thou, O Lord, shalt laugh at them. Thou shalt have all the heathen in derision. Because of his strength will I wait upon thee, for God is my defense. The God of my mercy shall prevent me. God shall let me see my desire upon mine enemies. Slay them not, lest my people forget. Scatter them by thy power, and bring them down, O Lord, our shield. For the sin of their mouth and the words of their lips, let them even be taken in their pride. And for cursing and lying which they speak, consume them in wrath, consume them, that they may not be. And let them know that God ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. And at evening let them return, and let them make a noise like a dog and go round about the city. Let them wander up and down for meat, and grudge if they be not satisfied. But I will sing of thy power, yea, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. Unto thee, O my strength, will I sing, for God is my defense and the God of my mercy. Amen.
Amen.